Isaiah chapter 17. This is a prophecy about Damascus. Damascus will soon stop being a city. It will become a heap of ruins. The cities of Ararat will be abandoned, given over to flocks lying down and undisturbed. Ephraim will have no defense. Damascus will cease to rule, and Aramis survivors will share the fate of Israel's finest sons. When that day comes, Yaakov's glory will wane, and his full body grow thin, as when the harvester collects that standing grain, reaping the ears of grain with his arms. Yes, as when they glean the grain in the Rephaim valley. Yet gleanings will be left, as when beating an olive tree, 2 or 3 olives at the very top, 4 or 5 on its fruitful branches. I want you to know something. There's going to be grapes left, olives left. I put grapes, but it should have been olives. Olives left on the tree. That's going to represent the remnant. Because God says it over and over again. He will never completely destroy Israel. When the Assyrians came and took them away, there was some left. And I want you to listen to what he says on the remnant that was left. It says, Adonai, the God of Israel, on that day a person will heed his maker and turn his eyes toward the Holy One of Israel. He will pay no heed to the altars made with his own hands. He will not turn towards what his fingers made, the sacred poles and standing stones for sun worship. When that day comes, his strong cities, which others abandoned, when Israel advanced, will be like abandoned woods and forests. They will be laid waste. The remnant will always have an ear to hear what Elohim says. They will always eventually submit, humble themselves unto his hand. There will never be a completely Israel that's been wiped completely out. Never. There will always be a remnant that God has saved back. And here's the thing. The remnant means what's left, right? I mean, let's be completely honest. What's left is what chose to turn their hearts to God. The ones who chose to submit completely to him, to give their hearts completely to him. Because he's not going to turn them away once they do that. But you have forgotten the God who saved you. Fail to remember the rock of your strength. So you plant pagan-style gardens and set out vine cuttings for a foreign god. Now, yes, they did that. But which one of us has not? In one way or the other, even in this day and age, all of us has worshipped some type of idol, even if we did not know we were doing it. Some worship working, or some worship money. Some worship going out and partying. Some worship, some worship TV shows, game shows, anything that you would put before God that you would miss church to see or do. Believe it or not, that's your idol. You're worshiping that before God. Now, or put it this way, if it takes more of your time than God does, you're worshiping it. But he's always got a remnant. He's always got a remnant. He promised Abraham, he promised Jacob, he promised Isaac, and he does not go back on his promises. He promised King David, and he don't go back on his promises. There's always going to be a remnant. And even up to today, for that promise to hold true, the people in Israel, And everyone who calls themselves Jewish is a remnant. If they were naturally born of a Jewish mother and father, they are the remnant. They are the they are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Though you make them grow on the day you plant them, and in the morning your seedling flowers, the crop will vanish the day the seed comes, a day of incurable pain. On a terror-stricken uproar of many peoples, roaring like the roar of the seas. Now here's the thing. God will discipline Israel when they don't do right. But God help the person that goes and attacks Israel. Right in the middle of him disciplining. If that country or that nation comes at them, trust me, that nation better either repent or God's coming after them. And trust me, they hit harder than you do, so you would better repent. And the rushing about of nations, rushing and surging like wild waters. Yes, the nations will roar like the mighty ocean, but he will rebuke them, and far will they flee. It's talking about destroying Ephraim, but leaving some remnant. At the same time, a little bit later down here, he's talking about chastising, rebuking any nation that comes after him. Driven like a shaft by a mountain wind, like whirling dust in advance of the storm. As evening falls, you can see terror. Before sunrise, they have ceased to be. This is the lot of those who plunder us, the fate of those who prey on us. God's saying, I'm disciplining them, but they don't give you a right to come at them. And I'm going to say this straight up. Don't think just because you haven't got attacked yet, or that you haven't gotten, that God has not come at you to rebuke you. We're coming up against his chosen. Don't think that doesn't mean that he won't. Remember, God created time, so he's got plenty of it. What I would do if I were you, I would use my time to repent. I'm talking to those anti-Semites out there, anti-Zionists out there. They're constantly downgrading, belittling, doing whatever they can to attack anybody or anything, or anybody that's Jewish or the Israeli nation. I would be repenting. But you know what? It's your eternity, so do what you want.